Hey, my ceramics peoples. I'm talking about our next assignment, which is, we're calling it a mask, right? It's not a mask as in made to be worn, but it's going to be hung on the wall. We're making a face. We can call it a face mask or, face off or face on the wall. I've called it a variety of things. So I got in my bag, right? My bag of new clay, and I pulled out, cut out, I don't know, a size that's bigger than a softball. I don't know, smaller than a grapefruit. Maybe it's like it's actually a grapefruit size. It's about grapefruit, right? And I'm kind of smacking it together, and I'm going to talk about wedging in this video. I'm going to break this video up into probably like 3 parts. First part's going to be wedging, and maybe a little scoring and slipping in there. Second part is going to be forming the face and the head, the general shape of a human head. And then I'll cut it, and I'll go into eyes, ears, mouth, chin, cheeks, details, and then I'll have the twist in the end, because there's always a twist. Okay, so let's talk about wedging. Wedging, if you just get this clay right out of a bag, it's either been sitting there for a while, and clay is, just dirt that's been, put through a factory, or they mix it up in a kind of a dough mixer, and it gets pushed into these bags through an extruder, and it comes out, and it's what we call short. So if I take off a bunch of clay, and I've wedged this up a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but if I take this out, usually, and you go to bend it, it breaks. And I've wedged it, so it's really nice right now. It's nice and soft, but usually it would just break. So when you're throwing on the pottery wheel and you go and pull things up, they tend to like crack or fall apart if you don't wedge it. So wedging, it's mixing the clay. We call it kneading. And if you've ever baked and you got bread going on, you knead. Well, if you've ever kneaded, it gets softer and real malleable. And that's what we're doing with clay right now. So we call it smush and pushing. I'm going to stand up, right? And I'm kind of leaning back, like almost like someone who's starting a track run. I got 1 foot back for balance, and I'm pushing all my weight forward. And I'm pushing, right? And I back up, and you can see that I made kind of a couple divots right here with my palms. Now, I didn't push all the way so it gets crazy like that, right? I'm just kind of doing what I call like a half push, like almost a push punch. Push, right? And then I smush that in. And I push, right? And then I take that and I sort of smush that clump back in. Smushing and pushing. So in fast motion, I'll do that over and over and over and over. Some people do this like 100 times. I think we can get away with it. Not quite that much, but it's called spiral wedging, because if you do it really well, 2 things. Spiral wedging, because you get these spirals spinning in here a little bit, right? But it also, if you're good, I'll get a good spiral view. It also should look like, a monkey face. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that right there, right? You can kind of see, it's silly, but people say it looks like a monkey face. The eye sockets there, right? That's what you want. And I'm wedging, softening up all the particles, mixing it up real nice. There's the monkey face again. Spiral wedging, you can see kind of the spirals moving. Once I get to here, if you came to the ceramic studio at a normal time, or any clay studio in the world, you're always going to hear this. People are always smacking on their clay. It's because we're forming it. See all those cracks and bumps and lumps? You can kind of take, the palm of your hand in there and make a nice shape. Smack down doesn't hurt. You can also use your fingers. It'll leave like that mark. So I tend to use the palm of my hand. Doesn't hurt as much. Back and forth. It's like making a snowball. I hope you've made a snowball. All you Arizona people out there, I don't know if you've made snowballs. But, boom. Maybe a meatball. Ha! All right, so we got our meat snowball. It's about size, like I said, it's about the size of my fist, maybe a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take this now, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to talk a little about scoring and slipping. This is like a little bit fast forward, but I'm going to talk about this over and over and over. Let's say I've got this clay thing. It doesn't even matter what it is. Later on, we're going to make a nose. So, boom, I make this quick nose, right? Silly nose right here. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. Super silly nose. I don't have the right tool. I'm going to cut this off. We got a nose here, right? Can you kind of see the nose going on? It's not a very nosy nose. And let's say I want to stick this on here. I want to do details because I'm going to be flying fast later. Let's say I want to stick that on there. Anything. This could be a mug or a handle on the side of a mug. Now, if I go to stick any clay onto another piece of clay, it sticks pretty good. It's sticky stuff. But what happens is in the firing, our firing will go up to over 2,000 degrees, and they expand and contract, and that thing gets bumped, pops right off. There's no connection there, right? Even though it's super sticky right now. So you have to score and slip. Anytime you put clay on clay, you have to score and slip. You'll hear that over and over. Score and slip, score and slip. What am I talking about when I say score and slip? This is it. It could be this wire. It could be my fork right here. Okay, so I'm going to score and slip this. Scoring is this. I'm getting close here. Hope you can see. Scoring is scratching it up. Now that's a light scratch. I'm going to really rough it up. I'm going to rough that up. And let's say I know I want to kind of put it right there. I'm going to rough that up. And I'm going to stick that on with a little clay glue, aka slip, in between the two. Now, the concept is this, and this is the best visual I can say. If I just go stick that clay together, it's pretty stuck. But when it dries, I told you, it's going to pop off. They always do. So what you want to do is really stick them together so that they bind or bond together. And that's the way to do it, through scoring. So I got this kind of stuff in here, and I made slip earlier by taking some dry clay I had right here. We'll come back to this. Take this dry clay, right, and I can just kind of crush it. Maybe I can break it up. I can take something hard and really break it up. And I just kind of took that stuff and I sprinkled it into water. In about a couple minutes, it just dissolves. It just melts right down. I can take wet clay as well and stick it in here, but I really got to like mush it and smush it and like work it. And you can put it in a blender. We have a couple blenders at school, old blenders that we use for this. I would not recommend putting it in a blender. Sorry, Mom. Do not put it in a blender, in your home blender. We don't need clay smoothies tonight. But you can see what I got here. It's kind of clumpy on the bottom, but I really want this melted ice cream consistency. Okay, we're back to this. This is why I'm doing this. We're smushing, or we're connecting that clay, to that. So that nose right there. So I could get a paintbrush. I'm lazy though. I bet you are a little bit too. I might dip it in a little bit so you can see it's glossy now, right? And I go and I stick that guy on, that nose, right? And then with my wet fingers, I could blend it in, maybe give it a little bit of a wiggle. And that will be so strong now. You can kind of, when you mush them together, you hear like the air bubbles all crack out or smush out. So that will now be on there so well and so strong that you could pick it up and hold it from it. Literally. Oh, almost. But a handle, a ceramic handle, you could drop it on the ground and it breaks everywhere, but the handle will still be connected to the part that broke off. That will make it strong. That is how you connect things, anything. Back in a few, and we're going to make this ball into a head. I'll see you in a few.